Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us for this other session for The Point. We are still talking trade, imports and exports in Uganda and trying to figure out some solutions to the current status quo and how we can actually be able to promote our exports without sabotaging importers, but also try to maintain and get to see that our situation doesn't slide back into what we used to have. Now, I'll first again start with you, Ms. Lillian. There's the issue of us promoting Ugandan, brands and getting to export more. Came in 2014 when Honorable Ameria Chambade was still Minister of Trade, and the government came out strongly saying that we are going to promote the local companies. We are going to promote Ugandan-made companies and products. And there was a lot of, excitement in the public. People were saying, okay, now they're going to give incentives. People are going to be able to have tax holidays. Goods manufactured in Uganda are going to find markets everywhere. But now it's 6 years later, and we are seeing companies that are coming as Ugandan, but in terms of the ownership or the roots of these companies, they're actually for expatriates. And these are people like Chinese or Europeans who are actually heading these companies. And the returns that are coming from that are going back to their countries. And yet they still continue to enjoy some of the benefits or privileges of Bubu, which was an initiative basically for Ugandans. What do you think went wrong when it comes to this initiative?
Again, the initiative was to boost Bubu and potentially boost export of Ugandan products. I think where we got it wrong is the government and the ministries and the stakeholders responsible neglected to identify that the target market or the target group that was supposed to execute this and implement some of these policies that had been put in place. They neglected to appreciate the fact that they were tasking a small trader somewhere in Kampala, a small farmer somewhere in Mukono, Kiriandongo, a small farmer in maybe western or eastern region of the country. And this person alone in their small nature, they are unable to do much. Even if you put money in their pocket, you're leaving them still at the disservice of the middleman. And this middleman can be anything. And the interests of this middlemen are anyway, let's collect at the cheapest price, and let's move these things to someone who can offset them in a large quantity. So it failed at that point. If you want to develop the small trader, if you want to develop the businessman, you must create for him a channel. The major channel that needed to be created, the most important channel, would have been a consolidation point, a cargo consolidation point, or a goods consolidation point. This is a point that would have ideally have encouraged the small businessmen, because Uganda is made up of small businessmen. That's why you say that we are having very many white-skinned investors or cream-skinned investors coming in and taking advantage of these initiatives that should have ideally been supporting the local Ugandans, because they're coming in big. They're coming in backed by their governments. China is backing their investors who come to Uganda at interesting rates, 1%. They get money in China at 1%. Some of it is free. Some of it is government money. They have an objective, an end goal. They have their end goal, but let's not focus on that, because that will not help the common trader, the common businessman, and common farmer. We have small units of small, medium scale. I saw that recently Ministry of Finance was trying to even make them smaller to appreciate them, but yes, you're identifying them. What are you doing for them? Get them a point where they can be consolidated. The Cargo Consolidators Association came up with a plan of a cargo consolidation center. Ideally, this was supposed to work in a very simple manner. Let all the small-scale traders and farmers come together, This is a center that will have cold rooms, packaging, it will have all the standard authorities that are needed, it will have the taxman there, it will have the logistical houses and solutions there. It's a one-stop center for consolidation and logistics. Meaning I have my small this, I can't move it effectively, cost effectively or cheaply to its final destination, but there are hundreds of other people in the country in that same situation. They have their small thing and they can't do much about it.
Yeah, I have Matoke in Mitoma and
yes,
move it to.
You can't fill the minimum requirement on air, or maybe you can fill it but it's too expensive. So we can probably ship it through road or sea, because we must not forget that sea is by far the cheapest mode of transport. Followed by road comes air. Now, we want to benchmark...
Where's railway?
Yeah, but apology. Railway is right after sea.
Yes.
But you don't need to talk about railway.
Not yet. Not yet.
My peer has said I should be silent about railway because...
Just ignore it.
Now that one is a top of its own. There's a very big problem with the railway. But that's not why we're here
Very
today.
big topic.
So, because of their smallness in nature, the government and its parastatals should come in to help these people and give them a consolidation point. And this consolidation point is not a point to do business. Okay, it may be a point to do business for certain arms, like logistics. Yes, logistics people will be doing business there, but so will URA. So will UNBS. They'll be doing business in there. But you'll be bringing together these small things, repackaging, adding value to them, moving them to the next destination, cost effectively at lower rates. When we do things together, we reduce the cost of doing those things. But when you want to individualize, this disease called individualism in this country is setting us back so much. So you find that it's only the big players, the white-skinned people who come in with so much money. But how about somebody who has 1 million shillings? You know, 1 million shillings you can export. But you may not be able to successfully export alone. But if you team up with 100 other people who have 1 million shillings, you can export. Forget about Europe where they want things a certain way. How about our brothers and sisters who are starving? Where is UN getting the grain and all this food is giving all these people in refugee camps?
But recently, if you read the reports on the grain that was going to Kenya, they claimed that our grain is not up to even the standards that are acceptable in Kenya.
Have we died eating it in Uganda? Has anybody died eating the posho that we have in Uganda? Have you died?
Not really.
Has anybody been admitted in Mulago because of indigestion?
Yes.
And what is causing this anyway? Because people do not have consolidation points. Cooperatives were slashed away.
100%.
If you
Suppose
give
it was
people,
just one batch of maize that actually spoiled
no,
the whole...
it may be true that there is a fail in the standard.
Yes.
But again, we are going to blame government. What have you done for the small trader and small farmer to improve on their standard? With the exception of putting a body to prefect them. UNBS is just prefecting. So you have come, you have told me my grain has molds, has all those things that are not suitable for export. But what should I do? I only managed to harvest 6 bags of maize.
Yes.
Okay, if you do not have a drying point, a quality controlled drying point, take your merchandise to a consolidation center.
Where everything can...
Where that can be done. It's almost like a cooperative in its own making, where the quality can be maintained, repackaged, a bit of value added because there are packaging facilities in there, and it will be moved on to the next destination at a better value.
Mr. Jeb, I want to bring you in here. As a Kasita person, I know you interact with traders, you interact with people doing business here in Uganda. And I know there are many people doing agricultural business, which contributes 68%, by the way, to our gross domestic product. When we talk about value addition, when we talk about quality, where are we lacking? Why are our products facing a backlash, especially in markets abroad, even here in Kenya, who are our neighbors, saying that our products are not up to standard? Where is the problem at?
Yeah, many Ugandans are disillusioned with what is happening with government institutions. For starters, someone comes crying for a job. After getting the job, you start to complain, we are understaffed. That is what is happening with UNBS. They are always understaffed. The next thing will be, we are being underpaid. I remember some I remember some 10 years back when Kasita, when the UNBS was still being funded up to around 400 millions. It was the former chairman of Kasita, Mr. Livingstone Zuma, who mentioned it to the president while attending it was a certain event at URA. And the president instructed there and then to increase their funding to 2 billion.
From 400 million.
From 400 millions to 2 billion. But still we are hearing the same story. We are being understaffed because we are under-facilitated. We don't have enough vehicles. We are underpaid. The same old story. Kindly, if you don't fit into the system, can you accept to move out? Let someone who feels he can do it comfortably at that rate join the institution. They are doing us a disservice. You heard me complaining from this rail station. Find out from her what is happening in China. We are losing money, east and west. If you compound that money annually, we are losing not more than 20 million US dollars because of UNBS in China. Why? They introduced something they could not manage. Why do you have to bring in managers to manage your own affairs? They are expropriating every money that they make from this country to their own countries. They are Chinese who cannot stop any of their colleagues' merchandise to move out of China. Let them show us only one consignment that was stopped in China to come to Uganda because it was substandard. On reaching Uganda, the goods are substandard. People are not buying.
I haven't seen
Kenyans are complaining. So we are saying the arrangement of the consolidation center doesn't have boundaries. Business community, who call them Kasita members and others, are the key drivers of the economies. Worldwide, you go to China, the micro, small, and medium enterprises have made China what it is. They have made economies everywhere you go. The small ones feed into the little ones feed into the small one. Then the small ones feed into the medium. The medium feed into the big ones. That is how it should be. She tried to list to you the components of logistics. Logistics start with a hoy. Someone using a hoy. That is part of logistics. How you manage that community using the hoys in Chiyandongo, in Nakasongola, in Sisa, in Buaya, and other areas, in Masaka, Chotera. You organize them. By the time the goods for export are ready, they will have this. They will have the standard, necessary standard. They will be meeting the necessary standard. We used to have cooperatives. Uganda had one of the best by then. One of the best coffee exports, and everyone was yearning for it. Today, everyone is complaining. Blackberries, all the stuff. Kenya is complaining about maize. They are not wrong. They are right. You take that road to Tilinyi Road, you'll find maize on the road, being dried on the ground. You go to Masaka and other areas, it's no longer mats, it's no longer this cemented whatever for coffee and it's
on the ground.
On the ground.
That's how the mindset.
Definitely. Reason is it's not about the mindset. It's about poor management from government. I wouldn't like to blame the small person. That is how we think it can be done. How did Amini do it? How did Obote used to do it? Because these are some of the governments we are complaining about. These are some of the governments we are incriminating in one way or another. but they did the best when it comes to cooperatives. What has this government done to cooperatives? Killed them. Where is the deposited land titles for the cooperatives in this country? Try to find out. You'll find where it is now. Because the intentions were never good for the cooperatives.
But
right now, we still need.
We have the
We are turning around. We are turning around, and we are saying we need cooperatives back.
The Vinci Coffee deal. The president is trying to.
I wouldn't like to listen to that. We have Rugasira.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how many coffee processors we have in this country? Can you sit with them before you call upon what is the lady's name?
Vinci.
The presidential coffee initiative.
Yes. The presidential coffee initiative. Definitely. Can you sit with Ichagalani? Can you sit with Bugisu? Can you have a round table of all coffee cooperative, whatever in this country? Just give them one task. I want this coffee processed. What do you want? That is expected of any president. You go to Kenya, what is Ruto is doing? In fact, the goodwill of the people, because of Ruto's coming in Kenya, is causing panic everywhere in this region. Why? He will sit with you people and ask everyone a question. You who are involved, what is it that you want me to do? By the time you leave the room, you'll tell his PS, you'll tell anyone concerned, I wanted that in place. Can we have the same? It was the thing we are complaining about. Why do you have to go why do you have to go looking for a market for Ugandan products? You go with government officials. What are they going to do when it comes to market satisfaction? Consistency in the supply chain? Not much. Can you have the private players who are directly doing this business? We have these fellas down in Kisenyi, in Wais and other areas. Grain millers. We are complaining about grain. We are complaining about bush. True, there are some issues. Can you sit down with them? UNBS. You cause a meeting between them. Government, presidential advisor. You cause a meeting between the millers and UNBS and other officials. How can we clean our house? Kenya will not complain again. Agree there is some politics behind it. That is what we say protectionism. And that is why Bubu was in one way or another born to fail. Why? You are importing Chinese to come to Uganda and do investment.
They are doing Bubu.
They are doing Bubu.
Yes.
And you want Ugandans to buy Ugandan-made products, which are expensively produced, other than the Chinese, who are importing already made because they are conniving, conspiring with someone within UNA and government. They bring the goods into their factories, pretending to be making them from. This is what is being complained of. The tiles. Some tiles are brought in to finished, transferred to Namukekera.
For packaging.
For packaging. Then they are
made in Uganda.
Definitely. We are saying, sit down with Bitature, sit down with Kirumira, sit down with Subiri, and so many others, Kaketo, the Kagambos, Damusanas, many of them, Kide and others. Sit down with the hardware dealers and tell them, this is what I want. If you have any questions,
and offer support.
If you want any support, we are giving you 5 acres
of land
in Idamavi.
I wish I could clap.
Okay? We are giving you 5 acres in Idamavi. We want all these products within the next 5 years to be produced in Uganda. Not out of the blue, tomorrow, this is what I want. There is no way you can manage the economy that way. Even China is still importing. Find out how much they're importing. And even importing some of the items they are making in China. You go to UK, you go to Japan, you go to other countries. There is no way you want to become an exporter when you're fighting importation. Reasons, to whom are you going to export?
There must be some bilateral.
Definitely. If you put a quota, I put a quota. Reciprocity.
Yes.
I reciprocate in the same coin. You are doing it. If you were saying we are not importing rice from Tanzania or Vietnam, I would say the same. We are not importing fish from Uganda.
Yes. So
what happens next? So
let's take it.
This is what we are saying.
Yes, Mr. Jingo.
The arrangement which is being proposed by Uganda Cargo Consolidators Association, a consolidation center for exports, would be the game changer of this economy. Reason? We are having the ordinary person organized. If you are not meeting the standards of certain item which you are supposed to export, say to Middle East, we disqualify you.
Yes,
unless you meet the standards.
Yes.
Put up the structures for logistics. From the hoe, from that digger using a hoe, from that farmer using a hoe, to someone who needs a tractor, or to a tractor for each and every sub-county, to those like Dr. N. Clark, who might need 10 tractors, Dr. Apeya in northern Uganda, Goodra, and others, highly organized, with a lot of cash and a lot of land. Can we have all of them on a round table? Because the small one will be feeding into the big one. We have logistics in place. We are talking, we have been complaining about transportation, but incidentally, I wouldn't like to mention this, but when NRM came to power, we had a train in place. It would apply between Kasese, some parts of eastern Uganda, some areas of northern Uganda. Where is it now? Kenya has put up standard gauge rail, upgraded the meter gauge rail. We go to Tanzania, the same has happened. Not even upgrading the meter gauge rail has been done in Uganda. We have tried on the side of water transport, but still we are looking at transportation of fuel from Kisumu to Uganda. Yes, to reduce some cost. But we are saying we have other players within the islands of Sesi and the other islands within Lake Victoria. And the interconnectivity between the region. Can we have more of water transport? Can we build more ships, other vessels to do the same? Transport coffee across, transport transport cement and others. When we say we emphasize Bubu Uganda and we forget that we are into East Africa, then we are missing the point. Why are we joining the regional arrangement if we want to sell or to buy our own produced goods? It's like you are inviting me to a party, but you are not ready to serve me. You want to serve your family. So your family eats first. Whatever remains,
Individualism.
that is individualism. We are saying we should agree where the president should lie. If we are saying ESC, we go into African Continental Free Trade Area as ESC,
not as Uganda.
Not as Uganda. Then we should emphasize ESC is taking precedent. Buy anything that is ESC.
Yes.
Sell anything to other countries that is ESC. That is our base.
And now ESC is expanding. You understand?
Expanding, definitely.
Many opportunities.
We have DR Congo, one of the biggest
80 million people.
Not 80, approaching 100. They are 90 point, 90, around 91 point.
Yes.
We cannot even satisfy the ESC as Uganda.
Yeah.
If only we can capitalize on our comparative advantage. That is where our strength lies.
Yes.
We have matoke in Western Uganda. How much have been done to organize the matokes? Can we have them in the
Matoke that's needed
powder
in Kenya.
form? Yes. Can we have them in powder form?
Yeah, Toke Industries is doing it, and I think they're doing something. You know, they're trying to make this
Find out how Toke is doing it. But we are saying as a government, can we organize Western Uganda as they did to milk? Everywhere there are coolers in Western Uganda. Can we have the same done for Matoke in Western Uganda, in Masaka, in Mubende and other areas? We have powder. We send powdered Matoke to Malaysia and other countries. The Far East, even Nigerians are looking for food. Do you know how many the number of Nigerians, the population for Nigeria? You go to South Africa, they say they are looking for food. They go hungry. So if we can capitalize where our strength lies as a country and agree to sit with the people who have good proposals. This is one of the best proposals we ever had for the last 10 years. I repeat, the consolidation center is the best, would be the best. And I challenge my brother Moses Sabit of the presidential whatever forum. This is Bassett, definitely. This is a challenge to you, Sabit. You did wonders while you were in URA, you did wonders while you were in Timea. Likewise, my sister Nam was in Timea, Africa. This is a challenge to you. See how best this can be implemented in this country. It's going to be the game changer because it organizes from the small person to the biggest.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jemba. And as we kind of wind up, I want to come back to you, Ms. Lillian. Many people want to really get, to participate in the, trading abroad and get into export. And you as a cargo, business person, what tips can you give to people out there who are maybe having businesses that are producing agricultural products and they want to start exporting to different countries in the US, in China, and also in Europe? What are some of the tips you can give them very briefly?
In summary, what I can say to all the aspiring exporters is do not try to do it alone because you're going to encounter very many barriers. You're going to encounter very many challenges that will potentially discourage you from even making your first attempt. I would encourage all the potential exporters and all the potential businessmen to look for the Cargo Consolidation Association. Even in our state of, we are still trying to formulate some of these policies that we have proposed to government and to other stakeholders. But if you come to the association, we can help you frame yourself. We can help you get organized. Because if you have a small package, if you have a small intention, let us call it even an intention. If you have a very small intention, there is another person who has another small intention. If you get together, you will minimize your costs and perhaps you'll be able to achieve your objective. So let us come together, let us team up. Because we have seen very many people being discouraged individually. But if we can team up, look for CASITA, look for the Cargo Consolidation Association, let's come together and solve this problem. Even in the state of disorganization that the economy seems to be in right now, we can find a solution if we work together. That is the only advice I would have for prospective exporters and business people.
Then also some tips on the quality standards. Now, you, for example, who is taking goods abroad, how can we meet? Because some of the quality standards really are so stringent. Like you said, it's like passing through the needle's eye. And yet we need to tap into the markets. We're not just talking about faraway markets, but also just our close neighbors here. How can we also still maintain this quality and be able to produce the standards required?
That's a beautiful observation. I would like to advise prospective traders and exporters. Before you even organize yourself to export anything, first understand the standard that is required at your country of destination or market of destination. Get to know what is expected of my product. Then come back to yourself and ask yourself, how do I organize myself? Because the institutions are there, the bodies are there that can help you get organized. But for as long as you do not know what you're organizing yourself for, preparing yourself for, you're going to meet a fail at your point of destination. So if you intend to do some sort of international trade or regional trade, it's important to know that where I intend to take these things, what is the standard that's expected and how can I achieve that? UNBS has a lot of information to offer. Very good. They may have their weak points, but they can offer you information. They will offer you even channels on how to get your standard approved or checked, or how to maintain standard. If this particular product does not meet the standard, then you need to do this and the other to ensure that your next batchmate is of standard. When that has been attained and achieved, work with a certified logistics firm. These firms are able to help you mitigate some common mistakes that could be made. For instance, they will help check your consignment to ensure that it does not leave the country of origin, which is Uganda, without it meeting the standard of its final destination, so that you do not lose money. And I would also appeal to logistical firms to be very genuine, very open, to try and advise these business people, these potential traders, these farmers, on what is expected of them regionally and internationally. Because sometimes, because we want business, we encourage them. Yes, fine, move your cargo, bring, I'll take it. But you're taking it for destruction of the final point of destination. Be fair to the trader. Be fair to the farmer. Investigate their final destination. Try to find out what is expected of the consignment that I am taking or that I am facilitating. Does my customer's consignment meet the standard? If it doesn't, how can I help them achieve the standard? Because the standards can be achieved. Even with our neighboring countries, when they say that some of our grain is of substandard and it has a bit of impurities and contaminations, it is not coming from an intended position that we want to murder our customers. No, we do not want to murder, but some of these farmers and businessmen do not know. They do not know how to control and manage quality. So it is the onus of government and its stakeholders to sensitize more on standards of products. UNBS, like I said earlier, is sending prefects for standards. But now they need to go down. To sensitize, to train,
exactly.
to monitor, to evaluate. Yes, not just come and execute, correct, wrong, pass, fail.
Yes.
No. Come down to the east, to the north, to the east, to central, to the west. What products do you have? Let us do this. Let us, okay, if you cannot do it individually, if you have failed, because we are talking about, because individualism is failing anyway, then let us consolidate. Let us consolidate this task. Bring your product the way it is to this facility. Let quality be assured here. Let the facility grade. Because it has all the different stakeholders under one roof.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ms. Lillian. I'm enjoying the conversation. I wish it could actually go on. Thank you very much, Mr. Jemba, for joining us and for sharing your views. Mr. Jemba is the Deputy Spokesperson of CASITA, and Ms. Lillian is CEO of Lycan Logistics and the Treasurer of
Uganda
Cargo Consolidators. And that is the association, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing your views.
Can you allow me to sign off?
Yes, Mr. Jemba, in 30 seconds.
Within 1 minute.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mr. Jemba.
I'd like to applaud the President and the initiative of moving for markets. However, if there is a mismatch between what we are going to, the markets and what we are going to export, then there is a problem. So once he comes back, the best he could do is to have a round table with different players and see what we can take to different markets. Identify what items can be taken, DR Congo, and other countries. Likewise to Vietnam, where it's heading right now. And lastly, there is a need for government and other institutions, especially UNBS and export promotions, to handle this issue of post-harvest. It's very critical. It's causing a lot of uproar and outcry from
losses.
Yeah, definitely, and losses, especially losses, because losses are made to Ugandans. While the outcry can be coming from Kenya or other countries, but the loss is made to the ordinary person and our economy at the same time. So We have the presidential round table, the president, what do you call it? PART-3. We have so many Ugandans with not more than 100,000 US dollars.
Yes.
Over 1,000 of them in this capital only, that is Kampala. We have those with 500,000 US dollars, over 1,000. Then we have the Chilumiras and the Sudiris with millions of dollars. Can we have them organized? Instead of calling in Piniti, is it Piniti? Pinito.
But it's a presidential.
The presidential whatever, coffee initiative.
Yes, Mr.
Kindly, can we have them sit together? Each in a different sector. Because we know Sudiri is in hotels and real estate, the Mitatures fall in the same area. Then we have the Kirumira falling into the same area. Then we have Wabog and others in Merrick. Then we have a number of them, key players in the coffee. This man, of Ogisu Cooperative. Nandalama family. Yes. Can you have the Nandalama families, the Chakaranis and others? Each in their sector, you discuss the product they are into. We are going to get better results than importers to become investors.
We are importing investors.
Importing investors to import into investment, because they import into investment. We want to see real investors.
Yes, our time is fast spent, but thank you very much for those views and insights. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking the export and imports situation in Uganda. One of the things that have come up is infrastructure, that government should do its best to improve the infrastructure. Also the priorities that government is funding at the moment, government should also reorganize some of those, and also focusing on working together, consolidation of different associations of people who are dealing in coffee, in maize, and all our other chief exports out there. We should be consolidated and have a one-stop center for checking standards, for us to discuss what we should produce, how much should go out, so that we don't have too much on the market. We should have some sort of unity. So if you're out there and you want to export, be part of an association, and make sure you're working together. Thank you very much for joining us today. Have a lovely weekend. I'll catch you next week. Same time, same place. Bye for now.
Smart 24, driving business.